It's the FT Alive Seoul Series post-game show powered by MLB Rivals. Scotty Braun, Erik Kratz, wake up. And Clint Pasillas, who I know is very awake. You know Clint from all Dodgers, his show, his pod, and his happiness right now. Clint, the Dodgers win. They are 1-0 on the pathway to 162-0. The Padres had a lead. They blew it in the 8th inning, and here we go. First off, Kratz, props to you, live tweeting throughout the entire game. What was your favorite part of the opening game of the MLB season? That one actually counts. Now, the rest of them, besides these two, for a week don't count. But what did you think of the first one that's real?
What was my favorite part? My favorite part was the fact that you hit the under on the K prop. I'm 1-0. I don't care what the Dodgers are. I'm 1-0. Let's go, BetMGM. Do it for the boys. No, my favorite part is seeing real games that matter, like spring training. My ADD just keeps me from concentrating on the things that are going on in the game because I know some guys are working on stuff. And the Dodgers showed what they can do without making a team or making a game where it's like they don't hit a long ball. I don't know what's going to happen. This game could have been 10-2, but it ended up being 5-2, and they were in striking distance the whole time.
Oh, and we'll show some highlights while we chat here, Clint. This lineup is going to be a pain in the ass, which we all knew. And it's not just the star power, it's the patience, right? I mean, they're going to draw walks. They're even going to draw pitch clock violations. We saw quite a few.
1 through 9. I mean, this is a team that is not going to let up anywhere. And you see in this game, I think we're all in agreement that Gavin Lux should have got awarded a hit instead of an error when he rips through Jake Cronenworth's glove. But even Lux proving why they find a way to get him on that opening day roster and in the lineup. If he's not at short, throw him at second base. But it was the story of missed opportunities early. And then they show, hey, look, we're the Dodgers. Just like everybody else in LA, we're still waking up too.
Looking at Shohei Ohtani's first knock in the top of the 3rd inning. And then also the stolen base pretty quickly after that. And Darvish is pretty easy to run against, Kratz, or so I hear.
Yeah, I obviously never got a stolen base against him. But you sit there and you go, how can a team, when you try to scout against a team or make an approach as a pitcher, as a catcher against a team, how do you mitigate through this lineup? How do you figure out, okay, I can throw heaters inside to Jason Hayward. He's not going to do damage against me. Jason Hayward gets a sac fly. I can throw breaking balls to Max Muncy. He wasn't landing his breaking ball. 2 walks. And then you couple in the fact that this team also runs the bases like their shirt's on fire. And you saw how many times were these guys trying to go, great play by Tyler Wade right there, but how many times they're trying to go the other way, trying to get singles. They can do so much. They can do damage with nobody on. They take pitches. They are a suffocating lineup.
Yeah, Darvish went just 3 2/3, 72 pitches. And new Padres manager Mike Shildt said he was getting close to the pitch count. Plus, you had that inning where he went. It was 30-something in the low to mid-30s in that inning where they really made him work. Wasn't a lot of damage there, but they get him later. Yuki Matsui actually looked like a stud out of the bullpen for the Padres with that splitter, but eventually the depth was tested of that Padres bullpen, and there's the key play too. Clint, the glove of Jake Cronenworth completely megged, not in midseason form. It leads to runs. The Dodgers add more after that, and they end up getting 5 total on the board in the 8th inning. So Jake Cronenworth, usually a pretty good glove, but I mean, literally not a good glove this time.
Yeah, I think they need a little bit of an equipment evaluation in that San Diego clubhouse, it seems. But as a Dodger fan, I think everybody in LA will take it. It's a nice wake-up call.
Yeah, it's an equipment malfunction there.
Old school wake-up call. Yeah.
Malfunction there, though, Kratz. I mean, That's a tough one. Do you think Jake's going to be pissed, or is he going to be, I don't know, like just pissed about a broken glove?
I mean, you sit there and you go, you try to have everything, all your ducks in a row for opening day, and something like this happens. How people are like, well, how's this going to happen? People on Twitter like, oh, he's terrible. This isn't, or other people are like, it's not his fault. Somebody should have seen it. You don't know that's going to happen. He catches 6 to 8 balls in between each inning as guys are throwing over to him. Could have popped on one of those. It wasn't hit hard. It squeaked through. And I honestly thought if you have an equipment malfunction, it's not an error. But obviously, as a pitcher, you can't sit there and go, oh, I get it. It's not an error. Like, I'll take the earned runs. So I get both sides. But I thought scoring, I'd have to look back at that. But Crony's another one of those. They added another shortstop. I didn't know T. Wade was going to start at third today. So that's now their 8th shortstop in the lineup, including their DH today in Manny Machado. So Crony made a beautiful play on a ball in the hole. He cut it off and started a double play, but Aniello De Los Santos didn't get over in time. So the Padres shortstops came up short today.
You know, it's funny, Clint. The Padres are full of shortstops, and the Dodgers had a shortstop who doesn't really play shortstop. So the Padres were like, yo, we got shortstops everywhere. And the Dodgers are like, okay, Gavin Lux, throwing issues. I've seen enough. Move him over to second base. Make it easier on him. We still want the bat in the lineup. Mookie, you can play anywhere, right? Sure. So looked pretty damn good. Made the plays he was supposed to make. You'll take it, right?
Yeah, I mean, had a one kind of almost eat him up a little bit, but Mookie did what Mookie does. I mean, this is a world-class athlete for a reason. He's a former MVP, should probably be a 2-time MVP. But that's me being annoyed that I think he was robbed in 20. Of course, we end up getting the other MVP in Freddie Freeman there. But Mookie shows he really can do it all with the glove, with the arm, with the wheels. Got kind of robbed of a stolen base there in the first inning to lead off the game. But when you have Mookie just doing what Mookie does and then all of this just damage coming behind him, I would hate to be any other team's, planning, game planning, coaching, all this kind of stuff. I don't know. Words are hard. I haven't had enough coffee this morning, guys. So I apologize if words are going to be tough, but I'm excited for a win. Excited to see everybody contributing to this game and Mookie, and shout out Gavin Lux having a nice game at second base as well.
Were the Padres pitchers awake, by the way, Kratz? I mean, 4 pitch clock violations in the first game of the season. You would think that the pitch clock was a new rule, but we actually had a full season of that. And Willie Peralta got 2 later on in the game. He pitched last year.
Or is this a Philly? Is this a Philly thing in the sense where you remember at the beginning of the year last year, Philly was being accused of starting it a little early. Maybe the Padres guy in spring training was starting it a little late, so they got used to the new. What's the new 2 seconds off now? Is it down?
You're saying with runners on,
right?
Versus runners off. Yeah,
I know. Hughes was first batter of the game, but they were coming close. It wasn't like guys were like you. I thought you got it off in time, but he didn't. I just 4 of them in one game in the first game of the season, and none of them were really arguing it. So they were sitting there going, "Yeah, I guess it's fine." Seems a little unprepared.
Yeah, it's 4 balls. Yeah, the first freaking batter of the 2024 season is Mookie Betts, who you do not want to let on. And they actually got some luck after that with the umpire's interference that erased the stolen base for Betts, and then they got the force out at second. But the pitch clock violation led to Betts getting on. Obviously, it didn't bite them at that point. But Kratz, did you want to ask Clint? Sorry, I interrupted you about something with Mookie.
No. I wanted to ask Clint, as a Dodgers fan, as a Dodgers supporter and viewer of 162 games, do you feel like the Dodgers needed to put Mookie at short and just add more to their lineup? Did you feel like it's kind of like a strength thing in the sense that, like, hey, we're going to hit. We want to make sure everybody hits and not actually add a big league shortstop in Miguel Rojas to the starting lineup?
So I understand their reasoning. I personally was not a big fan. I went on a whole tirade on my channel about it, where I would much rather see the arguably the best defensive shortstop in baseball playing the position and leaving Mookie at a spot where, let's be fair, he played a lot of second base last season, but this was supposed to be the year where he's kind of assimilating into that spot and getting used to it. And then you kind of pull the plug pretty damn quick. I understand why. You had opening day coming up on you, but Mookie did not have a whole lot of time to get used to shortstop, and there was really no reason for him to have to do that. It's really a show of how good of a dude and how good of a teammate Mookie is, that he's willing to look, if this is the team wants, I'll go and do it. Let Gavin get in the lineup at second base, and of course you see immediately the bat does make something of a difference, but it felt a little forced. I think you don't need to have a powerhouse 1 through 9 when, the National League for over 100 years was played with the pitcher hitting ninth. I think you could survive with one guy getting on base, whatever it was, like 29% of the time, as opposed to 34% of the time with Gavin Lux. But hey, what does it matter? They won, so I guess I'm wrong. I guess we're all wrong, or some of us are. They know what they're doing.
You could be right eventually where maybe problems surface, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue. It's someone who naturally seemed like they could handle it and probably will improve, right? Because there haven't been many reps there at the position. So for me, Clint, I was thinking, why not try it? What's the worst case scenario? 3-4 weeks into the season, maybe even more. You're like, you know what? We got to tighten up the D. Let's either bring someone like a Miggy Rowe from the bench up here, or realistically, if you're the Dodgers and you're going for a World Series title, obviously you're in win now mode, trade for a Willie Adames or another shortstop that emerges when you get to that point. Kratz says no for some reason, but why not? If you're LA, why not try that? Because that's your optimal lineup. And this team is all about winning a World Series title. Think there is no doubt that they are going to be a playoff ball club. So what puts them in the best position to win that tournament? And that could be Mookie Betts at shortstop this year.
I mean, you have time. You play with the first few weeks, first few months of the season. Luckily, this is a team that already has multiple shortstops in-house. If it doesn't work out, you pivot to Miggy Rowe, you pivot to Kike Hernandez. Chris Taylor has been a pretty damn good shortstop at times when he's been forced back into his position. It doesn't kill you to try it right now. And if it doesn't work, you pull the plug after a month. No biggie.
Here is the biggest issue. And you're going to be like, what? The biggest issue is if it goes well right now. But over the long haul of 162, things start to creep up. That then rear their head in the playoffs. Because Dodger fans are not sitting here going, I hope we win 100 games. I hope we win 120 games and break the season win record. Like, this is the team that can do it. They could care less. When it gets cold in October, that's when they want the W's. And if it goes well at shortstop for Mookie, but then some things are kind of glossed over in the season, how does this affect the entire team? Primary positions, starting pitcher, starting catcher, starting shortstop, starting center field, rear their head in 162 games, and then the playoffs, it really, really gets ratcheted up. You even saw Fernando Tatis, ground ball to short. He was busting it down the line. Guys in the playoffs are going to test weaknesses. If a right fielder is an inaccurate thrower but has a cannon in the playoffs, we're running on him. Season, hey, got to make sure you're making it. We can drive the next guy in. Playoffs, we're taking that advantage. Now, you play Mookie in the playoffs at shortstop, and I'm giving you worst case scenario. Now you don't have a weaker part of a lineup because it's a playoff team that you're facing, and they are pushing the limit every single time. And I don't know if he can make that adjustment to be the above average shortstop that, to me, I think a World Series team needs.
I'd say that's all also incredibly great points to that to this argument, to this question we have. They're going to try it, and hopefully he's really, really good at the position. It's not ideal, but a worst case scenario, you also have late game defensive replacements. Gavin Lux doesn't need to play all game at second base. You can move Mookie over to second. This is the path they decided to choose. I'm not a massive fan of it. I love me some big league defense. I'm a big time Miggy Rowe guy, and I think he should be there. But I understand why they don't want to run with him the entire season there. And this is a team that's already done a lot of work, this offseason to get to this point where, hey, we're talking about we're finding complaints about a team that just beat the Padres 5-2. Eventually, yeah, you might want to try to explore a Willy Adames trade. We've talked about it. It feels like as Dodgers fans and Dodgers media people, the Willy Adames idea has been thrown around for the last 2 years. Milwaukee doesn't seem to want to trade him. The Dodgers don't seem to want to give up what they want. So right now, this is the path, and we're knocking on desk here that it works out.
Yeah, and the pitching, you had Glasnow making his debut, 5 innings. Command wasn't totally there, 4 walks, 2 runs, but stuff looked nasty. And no, stuff looks nasty. Yeah, he wasn't locating that well, Kratz, but yes. I wasn't too concerned.
Lance, it wasn't his fault. I thought he looked great.
Oh,
Lance
true.
Barkdale, the home plate umpire, was teeny tiny. But again, Clint, that's why you take the under on the K's. Appreciate you, Lance.
Oh my gosh, Lance was freaking squeezing both sides, though. I mean, he just had a super tight zone. There were so many misses.
Yep.
Yeah, historically, that's his thing. But he was in mid-season form on that front. Actually, they said on one of the broadcasts, because I was flipping around, that he had only done 3 spring training games. I was like, is that normal?
Behind the dish.
Oh, right, behind the dish. Yeah, see, that's not enough for me. I mean, I'm big.
5 to 6.
Yeah, that's it. And then you're good to go. Then the eyes are fresh
for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever. Yeah, the Dodgers bullpen looked good. And first of all, with the lineup, like obviously they're relentless, they're a pain in the ass, but they weren't extra base hit city either. It was the singles. It was kind of pass the baton because there aren't breaks. Then you look at the Padres lineup and you're like, damn, there's such a massive difference between these two sides right now in terms of the lineup, because the Padres made the big Dylan Cease acquisition, Kratz, and that's when people are like, the Padres about to shock the world with a pretty solid looking rotation and some decent pitching depth. The Juan Soto trade definitely helped in that department, but they also traded away Juan Soto, and they've just lost a lot from last year's team. You don't have Hader to lock down the end of games. Yuki Matsui, like I mentioned, looked really good, but they did lose a lot from this ball club, and it doesn't look like a playoff lineup to me. I'm not overreacting game 1 because I ranked the NL West the other day, and I gave you the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and then the Pods.
This is a lineup that 2 years ago you would have been like, whoa, this is a nice lineup in the top 5. But is Fernando Tatis going to have the power that he used to have? And is Jake Cronenworth going to recover? Because if you have Jake Cronenworth hitting 3rd in your lineup as the Padres, you believe he's going to recover from whatever went on last season, whether it was pressure, whether it was changing positions. And I think with their defense, saying all the shortstops that they have a platinum glove winner in right field and Fernando Tatis. To me, I think it's going to bolster this pitching staff. And I think this is a really, really good starting staff. I think their bullpen showed you today what they are. If Yuki Matsui is your go-to guy out of the pen from the left side, it's a huge downgrade from Hader. Everybody's a downgrade from Hader. But they need Suarez to return. There's just too many question marks out of that pen right now. And it's tough. I love Suarez out of the back end of that pen, but he needs some help.
And I'll just provide some stats to what Kratz said, Clint. And first off, Fernando Tatis Jr. had 42 dingers in 2021 in 478 at-bats. And then last year, 25 home runs in 575 at-bats. Still a great player last year, just not the player that we saw in 2021. I mean, above average hitter, still solid power, and a Gold Glove outfielder. I mean, elite right from the jump there, moving positions full time. But then also Cronenworth in the 3 spot. Last year had a 378 slugging percentage to go with a 312 on base percentage. I mean, it was a down year, but his numbers had been kind of plunging since, what was his career year? 2021, really? 2020 was short. But to me, we're looking at it right now. That's a tough lineup. I mean that in a bad way, compared to what's out there in the National League.
That lack of Juan Soto is deafening to the eyes, I guess we'll say. Again, still early, but it's a very, very different.
Throw things out there.
Yeah, even missing Gary Sanchez, who hit 19 homers in 70 some odd games. It's missing a lot of pop. It's missing a lot of pizzazz. They bring back Jurickson Profar, who, let's be fair, is probably more of a bench guy than their starting left fielder. They have the kid Jackson Merrill as their starting center fielder. By the way, he only has like 5 games in center field in his life. That's a whole other, almost Mookie Betts style problem there, or esque problem there. But it's this isn't the Padres of 2021. This is not the Padres of 2023. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, because 23 had its problems, but I think it'll start to look a fair amount better after you see Manny Machado back at third, because then you open up a DH spot and hopefully they figure out something to do there. But I agree with your assessment that of the very, very good teams in the National League West, this is probably looking like the 4th best team. And that's not saying much, because the 5th best team is the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, exactly. And let's spin it forward to finish up here. You excited for Yamamoto tomorrow, Clint? I'll start with you. I mean, it wasn't just Ohtani. It was winning a sweepstakes. That was a sweepstakes. Teams were hot after Yoshi Yamamoto. Offers were in similar ranges, right? The Mets went a little higher. The Dodgers matched it. The Yankees were going after him, the Phillies, and many more. And he chose to play ball with Ohtani, and we're going to get to see what he looks like on a big league mound in a real game. Because in spring training, who the hell knows? You saw nothing, right? You basically just see him warming up for the season. I think he's going to be filthy tomorrow.
Yeah, when you're looking at Yamasan, he was playing around in spring training. He's still getting assimilated to the States. He still has a long road ahead of him to getting assimilated to Major League Baseball. But one of the things I did like out of the most recent pregame press conference, or a couple days ago, from Dave Roberts, he did mention that they are going to kind of work with the game planning coaches and give him a better game plan. He was calling his pitches, or one of the things he said, he was going to call his own game. You look at the ERA, it's spring training ERA. It doesn't mean all that much, but still pushing almost 8.5. Not the sexiest thing you want to see in your first spring training. So I think the Dodgers coaching staff has built up a lot of equity in saying, like, yeah, we know what we're doing when it comes to putting together a game plan against Manny Machado or what have you. So very interested in seeing what the real game one looks like for Yama tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning.
Do you have any concern, Clint, as the Dodgers move forward with a pitching staff that needs to find innings? Or do you feel like the depth of this staff is fine? Because Yamamoto has never really thrown that many innings. And last year, if you look at his numbers compared to the rest of his career in Japan, it was actually a down year. Is there concern for either of those two teams with Yamamoto being this? He's supposed to be the ace of a staff. He's not an ace. Maybe a 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think, gone are the days where we see guys throwing 200 innings, even 180 innings. They are going to find a way to not make an exact 6-man rotation, but it's going to be pretty damn close to an unofficial 6-man rotation. And one of the things that's very nice about this club is, as the season goes along, you just keep kicking the can down the road. They will get Emmett Sheehan back. Hey, they're going to get this dude named Walker Buehler back. He was pretty good at some point in his life. And down the road, Clayton Kershaw, I think people know him. Hopefully he's coming back later on in the season. Maybe a Dustin May sighting later in the season, but there is some kind of baked in safety innings but still, it is a massive concern. I was having a chat with my live audience, and I know we're getting closer to wrapping up, so I won't mumble on too long here, but we're kind of looking at Tyler Glasnow, 121 innings, career high last year. Just mentioned the Yamamoto situation. Bobby Miller still entering his second year, not a whole lot of innings under his belt. James Paxton hasn't thrown a lot of innings since like 2019. There are those kind of concerns in there, but this is it's not one of those situations where this is what they have, and you do feel pretty good about that depth. Gavin Stone is a guy who showed up during spring training, earned that 5th starter spot, and they'll find a way to squeeze in some other dudes there. Kyle Hurt will get some opens or whatever. He'll be a bulk guy. They'll be very creative as they find that way to bridge the gap of however many innings you need to cover in a regular season.
And Gavin Stone was tipping pitches last year. It's going to be really good. You know that
and
story,
he wasn't
right?
fat enough.
Is that what they said? He needed more weight?
Yeah, he put on 10, 15 pounds this offseason so he could actually keep the velo up throughout a start.
Me too.
Nothing like a good – yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to be better at baseball? Eat more. Best shape of his life.
I got velo for days, baby. Let's go.
Mass equals gas.
You do.
Say it, Clint.
You do. And obviously Kratz knows this already because I had to go head-to-head against Kratz and Todd Father last week, but I think Yamamoto is going to be an ace. That's me. I think he's going to be a 1 and an ace. I do. I think he's going to be a Cy Young contender. Not yet. He hasn't pitched a major league pitch yet, a real major league pitch. But from what I've seen overseas and from what I've seen in the WBC and from what every front office, not every front office, many front offices in baseball are telling us by throwing tons and tons of cash at him, are a lot of people banking on him being an ace. He's being paid to be a Cy Young contender. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Could he have some hiccups? Sure. You're getting adjusted, but I do think he's going to end up being an ace. All right. You can catch Clint on All Dodgers. Check him out on Twitter, also at RealFRG. Check out his YouTube channel, the whole deal. Clint, thanks for swinging by. We should do this more often, man.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And Kratz, I'm going to talk to you very soon live on FT. We're still 11 a.m. Eastern time for all the FT fam up until the day before opening day, where we'll swing it back to 1 o'clock Eastern time to fit the schedules of the players that we bring on the show. And we also will do a Padres-Dodgers post-game show tomorrow. Pierzynski will be back with us for that too. Big announcements coming up tomorrow. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a little bit on FT Live. And thanks to our sponsor on this one, the Foul Territory postgame show is powered by MLB Rivals. The next generation of MLB mobile games is here. Just simply, it's the newest, best-looking mobile baseball game available. And if you don't believe me, we got a little clip on our way out. So we'll see everyone soon.
In the heart of every baseball season, a symphony of cracking bats,
stomping cleats, and roaring crowds fill the air.
But amidst the cheers,
there exists a rivalry that transcends the game itself.
When facing tough rivalries,
we have more than our team backing us. We have our fans.
No matter where we are
or who we're playing,
everyone's with us.
We gather for the love of the game.
We watch as history is made, and
we play for our city.
Download MLB Rivals 24.